Let's turn to the advisory and why we don't always need to strive for ever building wealth. Why is that? Well, we're joined by Helen Baker, author of Money for Life. Helen, good to see you again.
And you?
Well, look, we're always told that you've got to continue accumulating, particularly a lot of people worry about their super, don't they? That they simply do not have enough. But perhaps we overestimate the amount we do need.
Yeah, I think we have a combination of people working for too long and people who can really probably quit. A lot of people who have their own home are certainly in a much better position because that's probably the key foundation to being able to retire without debt, without having to pay rent, because other than that, servicing those obligations is draining the resources. So yeah, it's important to have your own home, and then super is a big part of the next chapter.
So how do you come up with that magic number then of just what you need to retire on?
Yeah, I think what we need to do is not fix on a number. There has been a number put out there in the past, and when we look at the cost of living jumping, for $20,000 more a year for a couple, we need to be careful not to anchor on that. And given the last 2 years, we've had such increases not only in property but in investments in super. So people are probably hitting those numbers and thinking that's good, but they stay at that point only for a period of time. So you probably need more than one number, maybe even 3 numbers to look at scenarios around what if this happens or that happens, will I still have enough?
Now, it is the case today where a millionaire isn't once what it was, in that there are many millionaires today, courtesy of property, as you mentioned there earlier, with, in fact, the latest figures there showing some of those average city prices where median property values are over $1 million now. So you talk about perhaps those unrealised gains that people can play with.
Yeah, so that's the opportunity for some people. Maybe they exhaust their super and then they downsize and take some of that equity out of their home. Plus, a lot of people will reside in those inner city areas while they're working because of the commute and the obligations, kids in school, etc. When they retire, a lot of people really just want to go and live by the beach. So then the differences in the value of those houses may be the same, maybe less, maybe more. You might do a smaller house, and that will release more cash, which gives you the opportunity to use maybe the downsizer contribution or just additional opportunities to put money into super.
And Helen, you talk about the need for safeguards. In what sense? What do you need to ensure?
I think you need to make sure that you've got enough under different scenarios in case things change, but also to look at having the right insurances in place, make sure that you've got your estate planning set up correctly, make sure that everything works under various different health conditions and scenarios, and enjoying the life that you want to have in retirement, with so many different things that you might like to do.
Well, that's what it comes down to, bottom line, is that rather than just working and working, actually start enjoying yourself at the same time.
Yep.
And potentially sharing your good fortune.
Yes, so we obviously know now more than ever the words, the bank of mum and dad. And the question is, if you're going to do that, and thank goodness if you can help your kids out, that's really nice. But how do you do that in a sensible way? Because if you give that money away to your children and then they have a relationship breakdown in the future, then that forms part of the asset pool. So a good way to do that is, rather than gift, is maybe to look at loaning to them and then looking at clawing that loan back should their circumstances change.
Now, here's a headline that I like. How just $5 can get you on the path to become a millionaire. Sounds really simple.
Sounds too good to be true, because it probably is. But you've got to start somewhere, essentially.
Yeah.
This is talking about micro investing for some people, just sort of getting a dabble and getting a feel for what happens from an investment perspective. So they might start with $5. But as we know, if you were in the property market and you paid a 6-figure sum not so long ago, it's probably now $1 million. So these things can happen, but it's really important that people learn to invest not only in their home, in super, and probably outside of super as well, knowing that you keep on investing, it will compound on itself and grow, and that gives you the biggest chance of having $1 million plus your house, which is nice.
All right, but you've got to plan for it. So you talk about having a goal, but also having a budget.
Yeah, so planning, what is the goal and when am I going, what am I aiming for, how much do I need to put in to achieve that goal, and then does my spending align with that and my excess cash flow to enable me to do that and make it happen.
All right, you talk about also the platform, what you're going to use to do that.
Yeah, so there's many apps out there now that are giving you this opportunity to micro invest, but like anything, when lots of people flood the market, you need to be very careful about how genuine they are, how sustainable are they, how reputable are they before you start putting money into these places. Then you need to think about what sort of investment do I want to invest in. So some people might be ethical, some might be tech stocks. For me, it's about diversification, just to manage the ebbs and flows of differences there. And most importantly, think about how much risk you want to take, because low investments, low returns, higher risk, higher returns, but over a longer period. And you need to be able to ride the volatility through those times.
So be it equities, bonds, property, you like that diversity, say that's important, but bottom line, you still need advice, don't you?
Yeah, I think certainly to do bigger numbers, if you're just dabbling your foot in from a micro investing, it's okay as long as you're prepared you might lose your money. But if you're really serious about anchoring in a lot more now and you're really pushing forward about how do I achieve what I really want to achieve, and does that mean bigger amounts, the faster you can get started making those changes and getting advice around not only the investment but strategy, all the fun bits around using whose name do we put this in, do we use super, don't we, how to reduce tax, all those things come with strategy, and strategy is the fun bit.